He was born into history before he ever made history himself. On February 22, 2002, in Cape Town, South Africa, Sacha Feinberg-Mngomezulu arrived carrying a name that already told a story, one stitched together by struggle, resistance, intellect, culture, and pride. Long before the stadium lights, the Springbok jersey, or the roar of packed crowds, there was a lineage shaped by activism, exile, law, art, and belief. Sacha did not simply grow up around stories of courage, he inherited them. His grandfather, Barry Feinberg, was an author, poet, and graphic artist, but more importantly, a man deeply involved in the anti-apartheid struggle. As a member of the South African Communist Party and the African National Congress, Barry Feinberg spent years in exile, fighting a system that denied dignity to millions. That legacy of resistance and principle did not fade with time. It lived on in Sacha's family, in the conversations at home, in the values quietly passed down. His father, Nick Feinberg, born in London during that period of exile, returned to South Africa carrying both the weight and hope of that history. Nick would go on to become a well-known radio presenter and sports writer, a man whose voice became familiar to South Africans, and whose pride in his son's journey has never been hidden. On the other side of Sacha's heritage stands his mother, Mngomezulu Mngomezulu, a woman of Zulu descent, originally from Johannesburg, a lawyer and advocate at the Cape Bar. Her career represents discipline, resilience, and intellectual strength. She has been a constant presence in Sacha's life, attending matches, celebrating milestones, and offering grounding support as his career accelerated at breathtaking speed. Sacha bears both his parents' surnames, Feinberg and Mngomezulu, not as a stylistic choice, but as a declaration of identity. Jewish and Zulu. Exile and homeland. Law and art. History and future. Growing up in Cape Town, Sacha's early years were shaped by education as much as by sport. He attended Bishops Diocesan College, one of South Africa's most prestigious schools, known for academic rigor and elite sporting culture. It was there that his rugby talent began to sharpen into something unmistakable. Tall, athletic, and composed beyond his years, Sacha was never limited to a single role. Fly half, center, fullback, he moved across positions with rare ease, reading the game as if it slowed down for him. His education also took him beyond South Africa. He spent 3 months as an exchange student at Llandovery College in Wales, a school famous for producing rugby talent. That brief period abroad exposed him to different systems, different coaching philosophies, and a broader understanding of the game. It was another layer added to a player already absorbing everything around him. By 2021, his path into professional rugby was clear. He was named in the Western Province squad for the Currie Cup Premier Division, a competition steeped in South African rugby tradition. When he made his debut in round 6 against the Free State Cheetahs, it was not the arrival of a hype project, it was the emergence of a player ready for responsibility. Calm under pressure, accurate off the tee, fearless in decision-making, Sacha looked like someone who belonged at that level from the first whistle. A year later, his journey expanded with the Stormers. Playing in the United Rugby Championship, he quickly became more than just a squad player. He became a points machine, a tactical leader, and a fan favorite. By November 2025, he had already amassed over 230 points for the Stormers across 40 appearances, a remarkable return for a player still in his early 20s. His contract extension until 2027 signaled something important. The Stormers were not just investing in talent, they were investing in a future cornerstone. International rugby soon followed, but not without intrigue. Thanks to his father's English birth, Sacha was eligible to represent England as well as South Africa. In 2022, reports surfaced that England head coach Eddie Jones had approached him about the possibility of switching allegiance. It was a serious proposition, one that could have altered the trajectory of his career entirely. But Sacha declined. South Africa was home. The Springbok jersey meant something deeper than opportunity, it meant identity. That decision would soon be rewarded. In October 2022, he was selected for the South Africa senior training squad ahead of the Autumn Internationals. It was a sign that the national selectors were watching closely. In March 2024, he was called up again, this time for the Springbok alignment camp. The door was no longer just open, it was inviting him in. His senior debut came in June 2024 against Wales. Coming off the bench, he made an immediate impact, scoring 1 penalty and 2 conversions. It was not flashy, but it was efficient, composed, and confident. Exactly the kind of debut coaches trust. What followed in 2025 was nothing short of extraordinary. In September, during the Rugby Championship, Sacha delivered a performance that would etch his name into South African rugby history. Against Argentina, he scored 37 points in a single game during a 67-30 victory, setting a new record for the most points scored by any South African player in one match. The previous record, 35 points, had stood since Percy Montgomery's era. Sacha did not just break it, he did so with authority. In the final round of that same tournament, he started again against Argentina, kicking a penalty and 3 conversions in a tense 29-27 victory that secured the championship for South Africa. It was a defining moment, pressure, expectation, and execution all aligned. The momentum did not stop there. During the 2025 Autumn Nations Series, Sacha turned consistency into dominance. He scored 2 tries in a 61-7 demolition of Japan, followed by another try against France in a 32-17 win. 2 weeks later, he crossed again in a 24-13 victory over Ireland. Then came the final fixture, a staggering 73-0 victory over Wales, where Sacha added 2 more tries to his tally. By the end of that campaign, he had scored 9 tries as a Springbok fly-half, overtaking the previous record jointly held by Morenstein and Handra Pollard. In recognition of his brilliance, he was named in the World Rugby Dream Team of the Year at fly-half. At just 23 years old, he was no longer a rising star. He was a standard setter. Physically, Sacha is built for the modern game. Standing at 185 centimeters and weighing 94 kilograms, he combines strength with agility. His versatility allows him to shift seamlessly between fly-half, center, and fullback, offering tactical flexibility that coaches crave. But what truly sets him apart is not just physical ability, it is control. His kicking accuracy, game management, and composure under pressure make him a rare kind of player, one who dictates tempo rather than reacts to it. Off the field, Sacha remains deeply connected to family. His parents, Nick Feinberg and Mngomezulu, are frequently acknowledged by him as pillars of his journey. He also shares a close bond with his brother, Nathan Mngomezulu, a model and former contestant on the reality show Too Hot to Handle. Despite the difference in their career paths, the connection between them reflects the same confidence and individuality that defines the Feinberg-Mngomezulu name. There is also a quiet thoughtfulness to Sacha that separates him from many young athletes. Perhaps it comes from growing up surrounded by intellectual debate, political history, and artistic expression. Perhaps it comes from understanding that talent alone is never enough. Whatever the source, he carries himself with humility, even as records fall around him. At just 23 years old, his story still feels like it is in its opening chapters. He has already rewritten national records, secured his place among the world's elite fly-halves, and become a symbol of modern South African rugby, diverse, intelligent, fearless, and proud of its roots. Yet nothing about Sacha Feinberg-Mngomezulu suggests satisfaction with what has already been achieved. He plays like someone who knows where he comes from, understands what he represents, and believes deeply in where he is going. And in a country where rugby is more than a sport, where it is history, unity, and identity, Sacha Feinberg-Mngomezulu is not just part of the next generation. He has already rewritten national records, secured his place among the world's elite fly-halves, and become a symbol of modern South African rugby, diverse, intelligent, fearless, and proud of its roots. Yet nothing about Sacha Feinberg-Mngomezulu suggests satisfaction with what has already been achieved. He plays like someone who knows where he comes from, understands what he represents, and believes deeply in where he is going. And in a country where rugby is more than a sport, where it is history, unity, and identity, Sacha Feinberg-Mngomezulu is not just part of the next generation. He is shaping it. Thank you for watching, and remember to subscribe to our channel for such interesting content. See you in our next video.